You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Left these lies and globalists, pushing them back from the saloon to the airwaves. I'm spitting it raw. Constitution's my compass, liberty's law. Big gods creeping, shadows on the land. Feds with the schemes trying to bind up my hands. But I'm the Sherpa, guiding through the storm. Red, white, and blue, yeah, freedom's reborn. They spin their tails, but I see through the haze. Media maggots, lost in the maze. I'm calling it out, no fear in my soul. This patriot's fire ain't losing control. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Leftist judges twisted, trying to steal our rights, but I'm locked and loaded, got them in my sights. From J6 to the border, they're selling us out. I'm screaming from the mountain, hear my rebel shout. They mock the flag, but I'm holding it high. Stars and stripes forever under God's open sky. No globalist chains gonna cage this land. I'm the Sherpa with the truth in my hand. They push their agenda, but I'm breaking the mold. Their promise is empty, their heart's ice cold. Chicago's bleeding, borders torn apart. I'm fighting for the people with the warrior's heart. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Storms, I've walked the line, 41 years, badge on the grind, now I'm on the air, my voice like a blade, cutting through the lies that the traitors made. Hurricanes rage, but we're standing tall, sheriffs of the Constitution answering the call. From the saloon to the heart of the fray, we're taking back America, no more delay. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight, torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas static, hear my voice resound. Conservative Sherpa, freedom's battleground. Berserk, Bobcat, rules will never kneel. For God and country, this fight is real.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Ooh, that's a little hot. A little nippy. Welcome to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct from the SHR Nof, Idaho studio in all its gusseted splendor-ifness. Now, I put in a new chat room today. This is going to be the very last chat room of the fall. And as you can see, once again, we have spared zero cash for this. This is, in fact, the Mark II Model 5 plush, sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room, the last one for this fall. And if you're wondering where can I find the fat guy? Well, you can find him later on at Spreaker if you just want to hear an audio only kind of thing. And I can be heard later on in Apple Podcasts, going live right now on the SHR Media Facebook page, on Twitch, on X, on Rumble, live on the SHR Media YouTube channel. And then I are going to be re-sizzled tomorrow night, Wednesday night, on KLR and KLRN, Frog Dick, North Dakota. There really is a town like that, named that. How very sad. Hey, I didn't have a show last Thursday. By the way, speaking of days, today is November the 11th, Tuesday, November the 11th, the year of our Lord, 2025. I am your host with the most, BZ. And the reason I wasn't on last Thursday night, now I think I said something about this in some of the earlier shows, because this stuff is going to be kind of catch as catch can. Our little dog Jake, he has good days. He's starting to have more bad days, and we've got him back on IV fluids because he's not drinking. He's not eating a whole lot. The good thing, and the reason we're not thinking about making the final trip, so to speak, is he still gets up like the great little guy that he is, and he'll get up in the middle of the night. Now, if I haven't refreshed your memory about all of this, I should have named him Lucky. He came from the world's biggest hurt. I think when he was a pup, well, number one, whoever had him before we did entirely cut off his tail. Completely. Not even a nub. Nothing. He's got nothing for longitudinal support. Poor bastard. And then he came to us all cut up. I have all sorts of, he had a huge tumor on his back. He came to us with an open festering wound. We had to clean that up, take care of him. He came with arthritis in his hips. He came with, we only found out a couple of weeks later, he came with seizures. He's in generally terrible health. He's mostly happy as hell all the time, but we had to put him on some kind of a pain pill because he was getting, with his arthritis, it was very terrible. He's 11. So it's not like he's 14 or 15 or something like that. We have tried to provide him the best life that we can, but he came to us with so many deleterious conditions. And we just tried to make whatever time he had with us as happy and pleasing as possible. He has been the most amazing dog, but Jesus. But wait, it didn't stop there. If you thought it stopped there, no, it didn't. Well, he was completely blind. He became blind in his right eye. And then he grew a cataract in his left eye. So now he is almost completely blind. He bumps into things. But like I said, even during the day, when it's easier to see, he takes himself outside to go poop, to go pee. He hasn't made one accident in the house. He's the, oh God, how do I say this? He is the epitome of, God, there's a word on the tip of my tongue right now. Innocence. He is the epitome of innocence in an animal. So, like I said, if I'm not here and something otherwise catastrophic has not occurred, it's probably because we either had to take him to the vet for some kind of another problem. We're trying to support him as much as we possibly can. He's responding to the IVs. We're getting him food. in liquid form. He really hasn't eaten solid food for some time, but he is getting sustenance in a big syringe like this. So this is how we're feeding him water. If we're not doing the IV bag, he's got a big syringe, like about this big around, with a plunger and not a needle on the end. The needle has been taken off, but it's an open port on the end of it, and that's where he gets his liquid food, and then also his water. So that comes and goes. That's why I wasn't here on Thursday. And like I say, if I'm gone again, it's likely because of that. The other thing before we get into the meat of the show, number one, thank you all for being here tonight. I can only see part of the, I started this new thing where if you look down to the lower, down to the lower right, you can see the comments. And these are comments that are lifted from, as far as I know, only the SHR YouTube channel. So I would request that if you are there, please subscribe to the SHR Media YouTube channel. We have 677 subscribers now on SHR. We're, I don't know, I'm shitty at math. We're 23 away, something like that, from our first 700. So if you know of any friends, share this all over the place. Subscribe. And when you click on the bell, I constantly want to remind of this. When you click on the bell at the SHR Media YouTube channel, that will notify you when other SHR Media shows, not just mine, are on. Now, if you click on the bell for me, that'll tell you when I'm on. Now, if you go see Sean Lewis, Edge of Liberty, Monday and Wednesday, click on the bell, you get notified of his. Earl Jackson, his show, Tuesday and Thursday in the morning. Click on the bell for him, you'll see his. Jersey Joe, Monday and Friday. Click on the bell during his show, you'll be notified of his shows. And so essentially, we've got you covered at SHR every day of the week, Monday, Tuesday, any day that ends with day. We don't have anything to do with days that end with oxity. So if you're on like Sundoxity, I'm sorry, we will not be notifying you on that particular day. Speaking of notifications, I want to tell you this. I'm not sure what form this is going to take, but I discovered this, and I've seen a whole bunch of stuff on various pieces of social media indicating that on November 25th through December 2nd, but wait, there's more. Leftists, Democrats, and anarchists are advocating shut it all down. Shut the United States down. Nothing. Don't go to work. Don't spend. Don't go to restaurants. Don't do anything. No events, restaurants, nothing. We're going to shut the country down. Plus, additionally, the other thing I'd like to add is I'm hearing that before or on that date, right around 22nd, 23rd, 24th, right around there. And some social media posts have said, until we win. There are chirpings on Blue Sky and other places indicating that they're going to surround the White House. They're going to surround the Capitol. They're going to surround the Supreme Court. Leftists, Democrats, anarchists are going to do all of these things and attempt to completely shut down government. Now, whether or not that truly occurs, I don't know. Just giving you a heads up. If you're flapping away and flying to DC for Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever, well, A, you're not going to have a real good time with that. And B, you might want to consider avoiding DC at this point. I could be totally wrong. Completely wrong. I frequently am. Now for our carousel of amusing GURP. And this consists primarily of videos that I discover that people send me because they're clandestine, they're cloistered. And here's another one that people send me. This is the law of didn't do nothing.
Okay, ma'am, your total comes to 36. What you mean 36? It was $35 last time.
Yeah, that's $1 for the extra sauce.
I ain't paying no dollar for no sauce. You got me fucked up, and I'ma sue your ass for discrimination, y'all dead ass racist. I ain't do nothing. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Okay, ma'am, your new total's $3,500 for the damages and no EBT accepted.
Okay, ma'am.
That is hot off the press. But wait, there's more. I have another video for you. This is the future of New York City. Take it. Oh, under Mamdani. Forgot to say that. What the hell is that in his hand?
What is that? It is camel milk tea.
Of course. It's good to know animals are treated so well in Mamdani's New York, because once elected, they'll continue to elect him essentially in perpetuity or until he cacks. Look, your favorite goat. How wonderful is that? Don't think that I don't have another video, because I do have, I believe, one final video. You may or may not have seen it. I still think it's wonderful, so damn it, I'm going to play it anyway.
Start spreading the news.
Sing along.
I'm leaving today.
Hey.
I want no friggin' part of it. New York, New York.
Yeah.
These Hugo Boss shoes,
Baby.
are longing to stray and take an Uber to LaGuardia, Ta-ta, New York. I want to wake up in a city that's safe and free without...
Oh, stop that. Let's stop that right there. Remember that scene? Do you possibly suspect that I'd have something kind of close to that? I think you'd be right when I say it's probably time for something similar to this.
The bloviating Zeppelins, HeyJackass.com Chicago death toll update. Courtesy of every leftist running that city. From the mayor, police chief, and every autocrat in the 50 wards.
Anyway, this is from HeyJackass.com. HeyJackass.com, illustrating Chicago values. Chicago, the city of big, really big shoulders. November to date, shot and killed 15, shot and wounded 69, total shot 84, total homicide 17. Week in progress, that would be November the 16th to November the 22nd. Shot and killed 1, shot and wounded 10. This is kind of disappointing. Total shot 11, total homicides 1. Year to date, gets a little better. Shot and killed 333, shot and wounded 1,450, total shot 1,783, total homicides 395. So what that equates to is a person is shot every 4 hours and 20 minutes, and then a person is murdered every 19 hours and 30 minutes. In Chicago, it's my kind of town.
The bloviating Zeppelins, HeyJackass.com Chicago death toll update. Courtesy of every leftist running that city. From the mayor, police chief, and every autocrat in the 50 wards.
But, as I customarily say, but wait, there's more. Do you think that New York is able to corral all of this stuff just by itself? No, Chicago had to chip in as well. Remember when the woman was burned on the New York subway and the New York PD officer just stood there and watched? Because, you might get hurt if you do something about that. Here from Chicago, a woman is lit on fire on a Chicago train after an argument escalates and a person of interest is in custody. However, question for one and all, I wonder how long that person is going to remain in custody. My guess would be not of any substantial nature or anything of like that. Now, I have not had this. I have not played this segment in quite some time. And it's going to take a while to coordinate. It's this segment, and it sounds like this.
Weapons Grade Stupid. The segment where anyone can play, but leftists are overqualified.
Here's a weapons grade stupid article. This is from the state of Maine. Now, the state governor, Maura Healey, has named a trans person to the Commission on, wait for it, the Status of Women. You can't write these things. They seemingly write themselves in 2025. Makes you wonder where all this stuff is going for 2026. And again, thanks to all the people I'm watching the chat room. I don't really have time to respond to all of that stuff. But if you want to look and see what's happening in the chat room, just look right down there in the lower right-hand corner. And if you want to get involved in chat, you will see yourself as you chat right there. So Maura Healey placed a tranny on the commission in order to influence women's issues. This is another thing that I just don't quite understand. And it goes something like this. If I wasn't mistaken, through the 60s and the 70s, women were intensely interested in being liberated from men, from each other, from society. Burned the bra. Feminism took charge and ran. Now, what is it that equates with feminism? And I, again, will never understand this. Why are women going back to, and some guys, not very many, because there are not as many stupid, crazy leftist guys as there are women. That's being borne out by the numbers. But why is it that all of a sudden women are interested in being held in thrall by men? The nose ring is for one thing, for cows, for farmers to lead other cows and bulls around by the nose. And apparently that's what leftist women's want to have done to themselves. And they want men posing as trannies to tell them what to do. So feminism has done a complete 180 where women have completely 100%, particularly leftist women, submitted to men. That's why this is weapons grade stupid. It comes from an understanding of the world or a creation of the world. I don't quite know how to craft it. I hate men. I love women. I'm a feminist. Look at my hair. Look at me glow purple and blue. Look at my nose ring. And this is me protesting against everything except men because they're still leading me around by the nose, and men, trannies, are telling me what to do. And they're telling me what I will like, what I won't like, what I will think, what I won't think. And I'm all good with it. And I'm also really good with Islam too, because Islam loves me. Yes, I know, because the Quran told me so. That stuff, A, it'll never get old. Maybe someday it will, but not right now. B, a great indicator as to how well all of these people are doing is that Blue Sky is sharting the bed. And as numerous people have told me, Blue Sky is going the way of Air America. And Air America was a leftist radio network that I think it was on. To be kind, I think it may have been on 3 years, perhaps 4 years. And all you heard on Air America on that radio network was negativity. That's all you hear and see on Blue Sky. So some of the leftists that were there to take over the world on Blue Sky have since returned to X because they know that Blue Sky is such an amazing festering cesspool from whence they have now come back into the fold of Twitter X. And they're attempting to take over everyone's feed because apparently those ideas like communism and socialism are so good, so wonderful that they can't even support it on Blue Sky. Huh. Amazing. But see, history, what was the guy? Wasn't his name Santayana? Didn't he have something to do with a quote about history? And I'm paraphrasing, Senator, but wasn't it something similar to if you don't remember history, if you don't respect history, you're going to be doomed to repeat it. And history, of course, if it does nothing, it simply repeats. Period. End of statement. Here's something that I'd like to put on the screen. This person, and trust me when I tell you that I'm going somewhere with this. This person, for a while, I must say that I did support. She had some interesting ideas for a while. I don't support her anymore. And this is one in a series of places that I will be going tonight, because just to let you know, I had a nice Jake update for everybody. I told everybody about the November 25th blackout. We went into the Chicago death toll. I illuminated you with regard to something that truly was weapons grade stupid. We'll go into some Epstein updates. We're going to stand by for some news. We'll have some updates also from California. I'm sorry, Califailure. Damn it, I'm trying to change. It's kind of tough, but you still always spell it with a K. Budgets, shut down information. There's shut down information that you have not heard. There's news that you haven't heard. What do I have? 3 more minutes before the bottom of the hour break. And I know I can see some of you kind of squirming around on your seat saying, get to the break, BZ. We have to hit the electric winkle chamber. Calmate. We'll get there. We will get there. And the other thing I hope to be able to get to tonight is to tell you what actually truly happened with Obamacare. And all of these things, look up here. This is all the stuff I have to talk to you tonight. And if you know me, you know that I will definitely get to all of that stuff. So let's go MTG. Wait a minute. Why I oughta bring it back. See these things? I can turn the sound on and then I can go away from that tab, come back, and it's off. Go.
Every single member of Congress. It should have been the easiest thing for the Speaker of the House. It should have been the easiest thing for the President of the United States to release all the information, every single file, on behalf of these American women. These American women aren't rich, powerful elites. They do not have someone.
Okay, well, I'll just stop right there. There are certain politicians that are one-trick ponies. MTG has become one. And the other two people that I really, truly tried, I tried ever so hard to provide the benefit of the BZ doubt to, was Thomas Massey and Rand Paul. I truly tried my best to not be quite so harshly, harsh and judgmental. And I don't know how many times in the past, 2 years, 3 years, that they have voted in anything kind of sort of resembling a conservative fashion. So that was MTG, which heralds the fact that we're going to be getting into more about Epstein. I understand why people want the Epstein files. I grok that concept. But wait, some stuff has happened since then. I'll be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Mission log. Entry. I mean, let's face it, who's even counting anymore? The Lost Wonder is officially off course, chasing rogue rocket launches, fringe science, and things that probably violate causality. If it burns fuel, bends time, or makes scientists very uncomfortable, yeah, I'm probably going to talk about it. Every other Sunday on KLRN Radio, The Lost Wanderer, because space doesn't come with a roadmap, and honestly, I wouldn't follow if it did.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Hey fellas, are you mission ready? You need to check out Mission Ready Men via Earl Big E Jackson on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and noon Eastern. It's a show that equips you to navigate our society's challenges from a biblical perspective with courage and conviction. Tune into Mission Ready Men as we examine our culture through the prism of biblical truths, teachings, and how to apply them in our daily lives. Prepare to step up, stand out, and step into your role as a man as ordained by God. That's Mission Ready Men, hosted by Earl Jackson on the SHR Media Network. And get mission ready.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
I'm BZ. I'm back. I got it back. My baby got back. You have back, and I'm glad you are back. I didn't plan that out. I swear it. I truly swear it. Ida is here in chat. Sean Lewis, Sackhead Sean, is in chat. A Bard Cosmic, wielding the power cosmic, is in chat. Jersey Joe, Mike Pasqua is in chat. Canadian Heavy Hall is in chat. I'm trying to remember all the people that are in chat. UBG, Unpleasant Blind Guy, he is in chat. Mission Ready Men, I believe he's in chat. If I've missed anybody, I grandly and truly apologize. So tonight, I was talking about Epstein. I talked about MTG. It's like, you're a one-twick squirrel. That's not funny, BZ. She's a one-twick squirrel. And then, amazingly enough, Donald John Trump, OMB, Orange Man Bad, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head, said, and just came out, I said on Friday night aboard Air Force One, to the fake news media, House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files because we have nothing to hide. It's time to move on from this Democrat hoax perpetrated by radical left lunatics in order to deflect from the great success of the Republican Party. So now we have Donald John Trump saying, okay, release the files. And apparently that became true. There was then First, the House. The House voted some incredible number. Okay, there it is right there. 427-1 in favor of releasing the files, with Representative Clay Higgins, I think of Texas, the one lone no vote. Not sure I get, politicians do some crazy shit that truly, well and truly, I simply do not understand in grok. And then, following the House, the Senate decided it was going to do the same thing, except it was unanimously. They approved the bill to force the Epstein file release. Now, I'm of two minds about this. My first mind says, well, having worked the Child Abuse Bureau and seeing some of the worst cases I could possibly have imagined that come at least once a week to my brain theater, as if I'm sitting in the balcony of my own demise and the demise of somebody else, I'm there thinking of all my great CAB cases of all the dead, burnt, sleeved, scalded babies, and then the pedophiles that I sat across in really ugly rooms from. And generally, when I got a conviction in child abuse, I got more time behind a child abuse conviction than I ever did working cases in homicide. They're completely different cases. You're trying to save young girls. In this case, in the Epstein files, young girls, young women. I truly get that concept. And I'm also, I don't think it's a conflict for me, but I'm also of the opinion of I don't give a ragged shit where this goes. Let the dominoes fall where they may. Truly, I don't care. I mean, if Trump is a horse fucker, or even worse, and there's evidence to prove that, I don't care. Whoever and wherever it goes, I don't care. I truly don't. Let the chips fall. Let the cards fall. Let the house of cards be buttressed, or let it all collapse. Quite frankly, couldn't care less. That having been said, however, let's get this over with. I understand the concern behind it all, but these aspersions are cast as distractions from everything else the Democrats are doing. Because the Democrats, didn't they also again reopen the Epstein email door? Only, as I'm about to show you, that backfired and boomeranged in return back on them. But having said that, Epstein files, honestly, truly, will we get everything? You and I both know we're not stupid. We're adults. We know for a fact we will not get everything, because who protects themselves? Power. And all of these files, all of these videos, all of these tapes, all of this information has gone through so many hands. Almost at this point, nobody's going to believe anything. But the timing is crucial. Timing is a very critical factor in analyzing how and why certain things emerge as and where and when they do. As I've said any number of times, the absence of something is frequently just as important as the presence of something. And if the Democrats, anarchists, leftists had the Epstein files, and we got you now, Trump, we've got you nailed, and they've had that, why wait for now? People like you who are on this show are saying the exact same thing. Why that? Why here? Why now? Well, that shit has backfired. And I'm bringing the evidence to show you, because it's just like Adam Schiff, I have the evidence. I have the evidence on Trump, all of it, and I can prove it. No evidence. Well, if you have no evidence, then truly shut the hell up, pencil neck. Because it appears some of the evidence may be coming back to return like a bad boomerang to the Democrats themselves and the leftists. That's really strange. But you know, when I try to bring these things to you, I don't like to just sit and watch a talking head yammer for 2 hours like me. You know, I think if I were the proverbial talking head on this show and I were blah, 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 for 2 hours, that would be absolutely no fun. So I try to bring you as many articles and as many videos to back up whatever it is that I'm alleging at the time that I'm making that allegation. And so if your moron, Mark 1 Model 2 moron right here, if I can find this stuff on the internet, then you know the American media maggots can readily find it. Here's something that I'm going to recommend to you. For those of you who are listening on Spreaker, perhaps, not live, but in podcast, or later on in some of the podcasts, or in tomorrow night's reheat, I'm going to read some of this stuff to you. But I want to also buttress with this. I've started on the SHR Media YouTube page. I began it with Rumble, and I'm beginning to start to continue it with the SHR Media YouTube channel, my channel, or my show. Each and every article and video that I bring to you on given nights will now be listed under show links, not only on Rumble, but now on the SHR Media YouTube. And I say this because I have put up for you right now, and I'm going to have to read it because if you don't have a really sharp TV or your internet is not as fabulous as mine is, but I'm paying through the nose for it. Anyway, this says these are the files that you can discover from the estate of Jeffrey Epstein. You can go to all these places. These are all listed in PDF articles. Cameron Stevenson from the estate of Jeffrey Epstein. Courier has compiled the 20,000 documents from Epstein's estate released by the U.S. House Oversight Committee on November 12th, 2025, into an easily searchable repository. This will be here in show links. So I'm bringing this to you now so that you can see it's here. If you would like to search some of these things, you can do it by yourself in a group, solo, wanking with a mule. No one cares, but you can find it right there. And that link will be put up into the show notes. I play for you next. This is such a wonderfully glorious video. I'll add it to the stage so that you can see immediately where I'm going. I know. For the people that have watched this already, I can hear your gales of laughter through my earphones right now. It's making my earphones rumble. You're laughing so loud. But I would say probably 60% of the people, all the Democrats, all the leftists, all the anarchists, didn't hear what Schumer said and what Schumer did on this. Now, some people are saying, oh, Schumer is incredibly stupid. What a moron. Really? Did you hear what he did? This is rather astounding. Now, the question by a reporter was posed to Chucky saying, why wouldn't the Epstein files have been released the last 4 years when President Biden was in office? Meaning, well, he had access to them. They didn't just amazingly pop out of, a Sisyphean brain and, oh, look, there's all these files. No. Biden had them during the Biden autopen regime. They were there if people wanted to release them. Now, I'm going to play this twice. It's only, 16, 20 seconds, something like that. And the first people that heard this didn't get it. And some people had said, oh, God, he's so stupid. Okay, all right. Well, Chuck Schumer is either incredibly clotted or he's brilliant with what he did with the words. I will let you be the determinant of that. And I'm going to have to start this, then embiggen it, and listen. Here's the reporter's question. Listen to Schumer's
Senator, on that
response.
note, just I guess a question that's out there. Why wouldn't they have been released the last 4 years when President Biden was in office?
Well, that's the question every American is asking. Not every American, but so many Americans are asking. What the hell is he hiding? Why doesn't he want them released?
Senator, on that note, just I guess.
Okay, do you see? Do you hear what he did there? Now that's either it's one of two things. There's no moderation for this whatsoever. He either was incredibly stupid or he was crazy like a fox. You determine. Let's play it again.
Question that's out there. Why wouldn't they have been released the last 4 years when President Biden was in office?
Deflection. Oh, come on. Go back.
Senator, on that note, just I guess a question that's out there. Why wouldn't they have been released the last 4 years when President Biden was in office?
Well, that's the question every American is asking.
Turns it around.
Not every American, but so many Americans are asking, what the hell is he hiding? Why doesn't he want them released?
Senator, on that note.
But see, he isn't Biden. That's how he turned it around. Or, depending upon your opinion, that was him being, oh my God, he's so stupid. Well, you'll have to tell me whether you think Chuck Schumer in that. I find that I was shocked that he was really either that stupid and people bought it, or it was a brilliant ploy of turning things around, of taking what is the truth and not even giving it a little massage like on a steak, but immediately turning that shit around right back on the reporter. Here's another thing I'd like you to be aware of with Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer, the link will be in YouTube, the SHR Media YouTube, and the SHR Rumble channel from BZ's Saloon. The link will be there. Schumer got thousands of dollars in donations from Jeffrey Epstein to go along with all of the stories that I have for you that you have not heard in the past 2 or 3 days. Some of them are earth-shaking in importance, and you have heard likely nothing about any of these. Schumer got thousands in donations from Jeffrey Epstein. Now, Senator Chuck Schumer, who happened to call on Labor Secretary Alexander Acosta to resign and said that President Trump has to answer for his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, though Mar-a-Lago and Trump kicked Epstein out and refused to have him return when he discovered in what fashion Epstein was involved with young people. Anyway, Schumer accepted thousands of dollars in donations from the alleged pedophile. Take the BZ eraser. Not alleged. Throughout the 90s, the Post has learned, the New York Post. Federal FEC election records show that Schumer received 7 $1,000 donations from Epstein between 92 and 97. First as a congressman from New York, and then while he was trying to be the state senator in 1998. So is Schumer going to be necessarily quite revelatory about what's going on with Epstein? And the answer is no. But wait, see, here's the fucking brilliance of it. The Democrats don't know how to keep their damn mouths shut. and they decided that they were going to rip open this new cascade chain of emails that clearly show that Trump was doodling kids and had pictures of kids, and he was in bed with kids. Go back to my original comments. If that actually existed, it would have been out by now. That kind of stuff is as stupid as Q. If I remember, I'll tell you about Q in a bit, but I'm on Epstein right now. But they decided that there had to be a distraction. Look over here. Look over here. Look up. Look down. Look at my thumb. Gee, you're dumb. You are if you buy into that. Because now what we're discovering is that Epstein, just as it led back to Schumer, is leading back to another Democrat, another individual. There's a lovely young black female named Stacey Plaskett, who was coached from Jeffrey Epstein in a hearing, the 2019 Michael Cohen hearing. You know, the guy that said I am Trump's lawyer and I know everything about Trump. And so Epstein donated to her campaign as well. See, Democrats and leftists, when you go, and you open the door, don't be surprised when other people walk doing the full tilt boogie through that self-same door that you just opened. Schumer on the take from a pedo. Plaskett on the take from a pedo. He coached her questions. Democrats wanted this buried. And here's another thing that indicates, no, you're not going to hear this, because the American media maggots are controlled by the Democrats and the leftists. Let's play this. Here's 1 minute and 18 seconds. Now, if you're watching the video, or you can watch it later in podcast, but if you're just hearing it, well, you'll still be able to hear it. But watch both sides of the video.
Barack Obama was president of the United States. And while we were once driving through a struggling neighborhood in Chicago, he commented that only black people could live that way. Attorney.
Okay, now the audio is above where you see the video. You can see what's going on. Now look at the visual below. What someone did is they matched the time and the stamps between what occurred in this, point this way, BZ, what occurred in the hearing here and the time that Epstein was sending texts to Stacey Plaskett, a Democrat, to her phone as she got text instructions by Epstein during the Trump 2019 testimony. Watch.
Client privilege, yes, I will turn it over.
You, as my friend Mr. Meadows pointed out, misled this committee even today in a written
What's she looking down at? Well, that wouldn't be your phone, would it?
submission that contradicted your testimony. You have suggested you are going to review that. Did you review? Are you going to review it in our next break to correct the record? Yes or no?
Yes.
Question. You helped out the president's campaign or were involved in the campaign as a representative, as a spokesman, even in your words today. It was your idea for the campaign dating back to 2011. Is that accurate? Yes.
Epstein, message. That's his assistant.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Weisenberg and other individuals, Ms. Rona. Who are those individuals? Are they with the Trump organization?
They
and
are.
Are there other people that we should be meeting with?
So Alan Weisselberg is the chief financial officer.
Uh-huh.
The
You got to
Trump
quickly give us
organization.
as many names as you can so we can get to them.
Yes, ma'am.
Is Ms. Rona, what is Ms. Rona's position?
Rona Graff is the Mr. Trump's executive assistant.
And would she be able to corroborate many of the statements that you've made here?
Yes, her office is directly next to his, and she's involved in a lot.
Good work. Good work. You're doing my work for me, Epstein says to her. Well, sure, that's wonderful, but as BZ frequently says, but wait, there's more. Now, apparently, there are some, depending on what happens, some potential consequences for her having done that, for her being sent 3x5 digital cards. Look, ask this question. I'm Epstein. Ask this question and this question and this question. It's not because she's smart. It's because she's on the take and took money from Epstein. Freedom Caucus calls for removing Democrat Stacey Plaskett from Intel Committee for being actively coached by Jeffrey Epstein during a 2019 hearing. But you have to ask yourself, are you really shocked? Are you well and truly shocked? And the answer should be no. Here's something else you did not know, did not hear that I bring to you specifically right now. The official X account of the Democrat Party at the Democrats has deleted their post claiming that President Trump spent Thanksgiving with Jeffrey Epstein in 2017. You have to remember again, the Democrats couldn't give a shit less about truth. And that's quite true. Phantom, you are terribly late. I haven't talked to anybody in chat yet, but I'm simply going to ask certain personnel that are in this chat room right now who are remarkably close to Phantom to take her aside and have a serious discussion with her after the show. Lateness, tardiness such as this shan't not be tolerated. And I know you don't feel tardy, but you are. That's a David Lee Roth quote. Treasure it. Know it. Anyway, he was literally the president. Okay. You don't think somebody would have noticed that Trump spent Thanksgiving with Jeffrey Epstein in 2017? That wouldn't have been covered, that there wouldn't have been American media maggots up his bunghole on Thanksgiving all day, every day in 2017. So remember how Trump has sued people that lied about him any number of times? The newest one, I believe, under the microscope is the BBC. People resigned in the BBC because of lies. The TDS lives large, so large in the brain housing groups of leftists and Democrats and anarchists. It's astounding. So suits, let's see. This is Trump. Let's see. A suit for you. A suit for you. A suit for you. A suit for the BBC, and now a suit for you, the Democrats, telling more lies about me during Thanksgiving. But see, the deal is you got to dig for that. Unleash Jeremy Handsome. I see you. It's just... want to make sure that, well, just believe what we say, because our gums are flapping. That means that you should believe exactly 100% what they say. But wait, Jesus, I can't write this stuff. All I can do is just try to bring it to you in as cogent and logical a fashion as I possibly can. Now, as we're talking about suits, and I was talking about, let's see, Trump, he had a suit here, he had a suit there, yada, yada, here a suit, there a suit, everywhere, Kawanika Kwanwantalis. There's this. It's not going to stop there. Here's Representative Anna Paulina Luna. The Daily Mail, and I'll read this just before the break. This will be the last little bit before the break. Anna Paulina Luna on X says, if you're not following her, you should. I recommend it because it is pretty entertaining. So the Daily Mail, which I sometimes say, if you want to find out what's happening in the United States, frequently go across the pond and start looking at British and UK news. Well, this is just beyond stupid, but it is funny. and it is entertaining. Okay, so she writes, the Daily Mail, and look at the picture as I'm reading this. And look at the headline. Read the headline as I'm reading this. The Daily Mail published the most absurd and bizarre article using my photo alongside a headline implying that I was a bikini-clad girl in Donald Trump's kitchen. I'm curious whether I can sue for defamation over this. Using my photo and likeness is not only defamatory and blatantly untrue, it's wildly sexist. I have never been in Donald Trump's kitchen, and I have absolutely nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. This is clearly targeted reporting, as they did not mention any other members of the House Oversight Committee. This smear against the president, these smears are beyond outrageous at this point, and I'm seeing firsthand how the press lies to the American people. The headline from the Daily Mail, and then we'll break. Epstein claimed he had photos of Dirty Donald with bikini-clad girls in his kitchens in emails released by the Republicans. Well, folks, I pretty much have only one question before the break. Did you see those photos? Or did you see those emails? I wish I'd been targeted. I'd wish they'd sent them to me. I haven't.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
In a world where leftists are running out of metal for the safety pins of their soothing red diapers, one man stands alone, attempting to fundamentally change America, one leftist diaper at a time. BZ, your conservative Sherpa, is guiding you through the maelstrom of Democrat leftists and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Listen to BZ Saloon on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, and 11 p.m. Eastern on the SHR Media YouTube channel, Twitch, KLRN, Rumble, and X at BZ Saloon. It's one great late-night conservatarian talk radio show. Be there. Aloha.
Hello, friends. You have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name's Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRNradio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRN Radio.
It's Sean from the Edge of Liberty. Just like the Bidens, I too am moving. Only in my case, it's days and times. That's right, you can now find the Edge of Liberty Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on 11 Eastern on the SHR Media Network. Join me as we talk politics, news, alcohol, fun, not so much fun, clowns, small kittens, large kittens, dogs, amoebas, and anything else that just pops into my mind while I'm on the air. That is Monday and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast, on YouTube, X, KLRN Radio, Facebook, Twitch, and anywhere else a good podcast is found. Please check out our website, shrmedia.com. I will see you live on the air.
Attention, all patriotic women of faith. Yep, I'm talking to you, sis. Are you looking for high-quality, super soft apparel that reflects your love for country and your devotion to God? Look no further than Carry Girl Gear. Picture this. You rocking a tee so soft it's like being hugged by a cloud, all while showing off your love for God and country. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, welcome to reality, babes, because that's what we're all about here at Carry Girl Gear. We specialize in super soft tees, tanks, and more, designed specifically for the strong, patriotic woman who proudly wants to carry their message of faith and freedom. When you shop with us, you're not just getting a t-shirt. You're joining a community of like-minded women who are proud to wear their beliefs straight on their tees. So whether you're sipping sweet tea on the porch or leading the charge for faith and freedom, do it in a Carry Girl tee. Because life's too short for stiff, boring tees. CarryGirl.com, where faith and freedom meets fashion.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born. Inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being, and in the good that comes from exercising these rights well. The founders of our great nation chose independence. As do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
It's the end of the first hour, and it's the beginning of hour number 2. It is 9:05 p.m. Pacific. It is 11:05 p.m. Central. It is midnight 05 Eastern and 1749.723 in Bolivian time. Drawer 4, Growth Cluster 7. But you found it under the last chair at the northeast corner of the living room. But I could never quite understand Bolivian time, and I don't think anybody else here can as well. Now, over the ages, people have said, BZ, because that's my name, why is it that you're always in thrall to President Trump? It's Trump, Trump, Trump. All you do is you swallow his bong water from beginning of day to the end of the day. And the answer is, well, no, I don't. Now, this is an article from a guy that myself and Sean met at Freedom Fest and interviewed, John Stossel. Now, if you remember his name, he's the guy with the kind of brown hair, and Freedom Fest is a 100% libertarian kind of conglomeration of people getting together and celebrating the libertarianism of libertarianism. I'm a little L libertarian. I am not a full L libertarian. There we go. I'm not a full L libertarian because there's a lot of stuff that I don't agree with. John Stossel, should you want to know, by the way, is probably 5'4" or 5'5". He looks like he's cachectic. And he probably weighs maybe 100 pounds. He's a little teeny weeny dude, but he's full on libertarian. And in this article, he says Trump the socialist. He says, I'm afraid that Trump really doesn't know what socialism is. And when Trump took 100% of his Intel, or 10%, I'm sorry, 10% of Intel, his Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, said, it's not socialism, this is capitalism. But it says, in response, it doesn't have to be 100%. If you're Intel, there's no way you're going to antagonize the Trump administration or some future AOC administration by doing something that the government doesn't like. And to that, I say, yeah, I agree. Trump has done a bunch of things that have irritated me. Some minuscule irritazione. Some of them really pissed me off. I am pretty much an absolutist when it comes to the First Amendment and to the Second Amendment. Trump created his flag-burning EO. Okay, don't misunderstand me. I grok the concept behind it, but it is an abomination in terms of the First Amendment, with the conflict being that at the end of their days of service, you burn the flag. People will say, but it's the intent. People have the freedom of speech. If it's your flag, you own it, have at it. You can do it. I disagreed with that. The 50-year mortgage that he touted. In my opinion, some people have said, well, that's the only way that people are going to be able to get into homes right now, BZ. Where's your heart? Where's your feeling? Where's your compassion? Well, in 50 years, are you really going to be keeping that house? And a 50-year mortgage is just another rope of chains, metal chains around your neck. And will you ever really get to own that house? Or are you just a renter? Or are you just leasing? That's one major question I had. And the other thing that I could not disagree more with Trump's H-1B visa situation and saying that I want to let 600,000 Chinese students into this nation. To which I reply, what in the holy hell are you thinking? China is our enemy. How many examples does it take for you to understand 4 words? China is our enemy. I couldn't disagree more with what I consider that to be just ridiculously stupid stuff. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to stand by some news. This comes into the stuff where I'm pretty sure you haven't heard this. This is weird. I think this occurred today. ICE arrests an illegal immigrant trucker from Uzbekistan over alleged terror ties. Now run with me with this. There's a guy named Akror Bozarov, was released, comes here illegally, released into the United States of America. If they'd done the slightest amount of background, they would have determined that he was a terrorist. He was a criminal, illegal immigrant. He already had a warrant for his arrest for him. And he still comes into the United States of America. He was then, after being allowed coming into the United States of America, he was then granted a work authorization. And so he started driving an 85,000-pound truck, an 18-wheeler, all over the state of Kansas. Well, he belongs to a terrorist organization. The U.S. and ICE discovers all this. He was distributing terrorist propaganda, calling for jihad online and recruiting terrorists themselves to join said jihad. And we invited him here. You know, it's like, do we not see the congruence in Biden saying, basically, I don't work for you. And it's very clear to me, Biden was not working for the United States of America. BZ, bring the evidence. Okay, sure. Thanks for asking. Anybody remember this? Biden hurls curse words at workers who challenged him on guns. And what did Biden say? He said to that factory worker, an American citizen, that, by the way, you're full of shit. I didn't do that. And then he also said, I'm not working for you. Well, that's true. Here's the story and the proof. Biden said to a citizen, I'm not working for you. And the proof was that for 4 years, Biden, as far as I'm concerned, proved daily that he was not working for the citizens. He was working against the citizens of the United States of America. Here's another story you didn't see. This is from the BBC. And Sean and Jersey Joe and Earl and I were talking back and forth in the green room backstage under X. We have a little place where we get together and we throw ideas around and what. And I don't remember who put this up, either Joe or Sean, and said, hey, I just heard about this. I'm not sure. Is this correct? And the answer is right here. Yeah, here it is. Poland said a blast on a rail line to Ukraine was an unprecedented act of sabotage. So I looked and I came back to the green room for SHR. And I said, I've been watching the news all day. I haven't seen a thing. I haven't seen anything on Newsmax. I haven't seen anything on Fox. I haven't seen anything on OAN. And I haven't seen anything on there's another one that I can't remember. News Nation. And you're sure as hell not going to see it on CBS, NBC. or ABC, MSNBC, although I don't think they're called that now, CNN, any of that stuff. You're not going to see this. This was a huge story that was buried intentionally by the American media maggots. And that's when you have to be able to understand that they're not going to tell you. Well, not only are they going to lie to you, but they're just not going to bring things to you. They're just not going to bring information to you. Here's something that I told people not only at a business that I went to on Sunday, and a couple of people in another business, and a couple of people at a restaurant that Mrs. Beasy and I went to, and all of them that I told them this about, they all went, no, that's not true. That didn't happen. Really? Have you seen that Gen Z is rioting in Mexico? Gen Z is fighting the cartels while all the big families, the Scheinbaum family and the mega families in Mexico, who are sucking up to and filleting all the cartels humanly possible, that the people in Mexico are coming out and they are fighting. They are of Gen Z and they are attempting to fight the corruption, the terrible cartel corruption in their government.
Gen Zers in Mexico are fighting for their lives to get the cartels out of their lives. You've got the radical leftists in America fighting to keep the cartels here. That's what we have going on. We've got all of these protests against ICE all across this country. I've been driving across the country all weekend, and everywhere you go, you've got massive amounts of illegals that were brought in under the last regime that are now being protected by the very cartels that Mexico is trying to eliminate. You've got think about this, Steve, who the Democrats have aligned themselves with. Everyone on their side. They started with the communists. Communists kill. Who do we align with? We align with the communists. Then they align with the jihadists. Jihadists kill. We align with jihadists. Then they align with the cartels. Right now, the Democrats are completely controlled by those three heads. You've got the cartels, you've got the jihadists, and the communists, all working to destroy this country from within. Well, you've got the Gen Zers down in Mexico. I mean, imagine that. It's unbelievable. And the same thing happening in Europe, where people are rising up saying, no more Islamic jihad invasion in our countries. We've got to stand up. This is a global fight that we are in right now. And the tip of that is in America. If we lose it here, we lose it everywhere.
But it's also in Mexico. Gen Zers are fighting the cartels, which are in league with the Muslim terrorists. And you didn't hear one damn little thing about that, did you? Here's another story. So protesters in Mexico tore down, and you definitely didn't hear this, they tore barriers down between themselves and President Claudia Sheinbaum, a good little Jewish Mexican name, for shielding the cartels. Riot police all over the place. They battled. They pulled down the barricades. Here's what happened. A little look. But this goes against their narrative. So you're not going to hear that there are people fighting against Mexico, against their government, against the Scheinbaum family, against the cartels, and against Islam, because they are all in league. They are all being paid off. And you cannot tell me that there aren't a massive amount of politicos in DC who aren't themselves being paid off by the cartels, by terrorists, and by Islam. You can't tell me that that's not occurring. And, BZ, you don't have the evidence. Couldn't care less. Really couldn't care less. Because you either intuit and know these things, as I do, and most of the things that I've thought in the past 10 years, particularly since 2015 and beyond, we've all had our spidey sense tingling. And we've all said, the things that people are telling me, I just don't believe anymore. But I'm nothing but a tinfoil wearing conspiracist, as is Trump. And it turns out, oh, well, no, as a matter of fact, you've been lied to. You're not the conspiracist. You're not the nutty one. Now, here's something that I'm going to go into next with regard to illegal invaders that no one yet has made the linkage to. I don't know why. I have my suspicions. It's because people don't want to make that linkage intentionally. They're not smart enough to make that linkage. Once I show you this linkage, you will say to yourself, I was thinking that exact same thing as well. But these all came out in separate stories, but they are inexorably linked. BZ, whatever the hell are you talking about? I'm talking about Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, when this story came out from the CBS Weekend News, I said, the story was 150,000 people in Charlotte, North Carolina are illegal invaders. And this story was trotted out as, it's a news story. Okay, so, well, all right, let's play the news story.
Tonight, Charlotte, North Carolina is the latest city to see a surge in immigration enforcement. Officers today started detaining...
Okay, stop. Now, see, do you note the angle of the story? It's not about illegal invaders. It's about those poor little brown people being pulled off the streets. But no one, because they didn't buttress this, nobody said, wait a minute, what the hell are 150,000 illegal invaders doing in, of all places, Charlotte, North Carolina?
The city is made up of more than 900,000 people, including more than 150,000.
900,000 citizens in Charlotte, North Carolina. 150,000 of them are illegal invaders. And then they're shocked, I tell you, shocked to our very core that ICE is going in there to try to yank them out.
Foreign-born, according to officials. Local leaders object to the federal force, saying it instills fear and uncertainty. Tonight,
that's the point. But they buried the lead, as the American media maggots frequently do. The buried lead is not that, oh, we're going after these poor people. The lead is, how the hell did 150,000 illegal immigrants, illegal invaders get into Charlotte, North Carolina? Who let them in? Who put them there? Who shoved them there? That would be the Joe Vegetable Biden auto pen regime from the past 4 years. So let's remove that story. And then let's put in this story. And then you'll see, wait a minute. Yeah, I was wondering that myself. But now you get to tell all the other people around it too. Okay, illegal invaders. And then 21,000. This is from yesterday. No, today. This article is today. Thousands of Charlotte, North Carolina students miss school amidst an ICE crackdown. What? So you're saying that 21,000 students in North Carolina public government schools are illegal invaders, and Charlotte, North Carolina doesn't want them to go anywhere because they get a per seat pay from the state and the federal governments for butts in seats. And when those butts leave those seats along with their families, they lose money. Who put themselves into that position? Why? That would be the states and the towns and the cities themselves. 21,000 Charlotte students didn't appear in school today, not because of we're protesting climate change. No, because they are illegal invaders. Are you? It's like trying to understand a lot of this is kind of sort of beyond human ken. The numbers are so staggering that it's amazingly easy to just wipe it aside and say, well, they're here. And besides, didn't all the leftists and the Democrats, when I believe Trump and Tom Homan said some time ago, at least at the beginning of the year, right around the beginning of the year, they said something, or leftists and Democrats were saying to them, it is physically impossible to remove 100,000 illegal invaders. They're already in here. You won't be able to remove 500,000 of them. You won't be able to remove 600,000 of them. Guess what? More than 2 million illegal migrants have been deported since January. But no, that can't be done. That absolutely is impossible to do. Then, in terms of other stories that perhaps you may have missed, here's one from Miranda Devine. She writes at the New York Post, the FBI and the Secret Service butchered the Thomas Crooks case and invited conspiracies. And she said, well, you know what? We deserve the truth. The president himself is dissatisfied with all of this junk, as well he should be. So, if you remember, in Butler, Pennsylvania, Crooks shot or tried to kill on live TV, missed by, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch, took out part of Trump's ear, but killed rally goer, a firefighter or a retired firefighter named Corey Comparator. He was 50 years old, and then seriously wounded a 50-year-old guy also named David Dutch, and James Copenhaver, 75, killed Corey Comparator with one bullet, and nobody knows any answers. So what's going on? The president asked. Nobody's apparently speaking to the president. Then FBI Director Chris Wray said back in July, well, we'd found nothing in Crooks' online history that pointed to a motive or a political ideology, except that he loved tranny kids and he loved tranny fuzzies. And then Crooks' digital footprint. Oh, he didn't have one, you were told. He had no digital footprint. But there were some people who were of single-mindedness such that they found and dived deep and discovered Crooks' hidden digital footprint, and that Congress was misled by omission, as Miranda Devine says. An entire section of Crooks' online interactions from January to August 2020 was omitted when he did an ideological backflip and went from rabidly pro-Trump to rabidly anti-Trump and then went dark. And then they discovered Crooks had 17 accounts on YouTube, Snapchat, Venmo, Zelle, GroupMe, Discord, Google Play, Quizlet, Chess.com, and Quora. So it was all online for people to see. And despite that, we still have no answers. We have no answers because people are uninterested in discovering those answers. And I've said this for quite some time. And I will continue to say it, despite the number one and the number two person in the FBI. Because they truly, with the deep state FBI, they don't have very much pull. I have said now for quite some time, the FBI is nothing more than the weaponized arm of the DNC and leftists. It is a corrupt, anti-American, terrorist, corruptive organization. So BZ, can you tell me then, what is the definition of terrorism, and how can you possibly label the FBI a terrorist organization? The definition of terrorism is the unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in the pursuit of political aims. You tell me if that is applicable.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Listen in to the Reaver of Common Sense, where we cut through the noise of news and politics with a show equipped for bombast. Tune in Mondays and Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. Pacific, featuring a refreshing dose of reality. Jersey Joe fearlessly tackles the tough topics with no nonsense. Just pure common sense. Visit shrmedia.com, where you can hear the Reaver of Common Sense in action. He may not always be polite. He may not always be refined. But one thing's for sure. He always tells it like it is.
Are you looking for a way to boldly express your faith and love for your country? Then check out Seven Armors, the premier apparel company for patriotic men of God, where faith meets freedom in style. Our t-shirts are more than just clothing, they're statements. Bold, stylish, and meaningful. From timeless messages to modern designs, we've got something for every patriotic man of God. Wear your beliefs proudly with Seven Armors gear. Don't miss the chance to wear your faith and freedom on your sleeve. Visit 7armors.com today and join the movement. That's the number 7armors.com. 7armors.com. Faithful, vigilant, steadfast, passionate.
Are you looking for bold and honest conversation about the issues shaping America? Well, let me welcome you to Unleashed 101 with Jeremy Hansen, where we take you beyond the headlines. We dive into politics and culture, struggles of everyday life. It's raw, real, and unfiltered. If you're ready for truth with a punch, pull up a chair and join us. That's right, Unleashed 101, where real talk feels like home. Find us at unleashed101.com, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and more. We look forward to seeing you. Unleashed 101 with Jeremy Hansen.
Freedom. One nation in all of human history was built on that bedrock. Ours. A republic of the people, by the people, and for the people. Self-government requires freedom, just as freedom requires an individual willingness to self-govern. Freedom has made America exceptional, but it can only last as long as you and I seek the good, as expressed by the laws of nature and nature's God. It can only last if you and I choose to act as people of character. Forging character has been the pursuit of Hillsdale College since 1844.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
I'm back. I'm back, and I'm BC. And there are lots of people in the chat room right now. Hello to Jeremy Hansen. Hello to Jack Alexander. Hello to Kiwi Lass and Boyd McPhail. Hello to everyone that was there. I was talking about the FBI recently, and what I said was, by the way, the FBI, I think they're a terrorist organization. Hey, and did you know this? I bet you didn't. Bet you didn't know this. When you file a FOIA request, a Freedom of Information Act request to the FBI, they purposely bury their crap so, like a bad dog or a cat in a sand mound, you can't find their shit. So the point is, and the letters up there are going to be too small to read, so I'll read them for you. Anyway, especially for those who are listening on Spreaker audio only. Notice how the FBI misspells Clinton, Weiner, and Abedin. So if you misspell it, that makes it much harder for a Freedom of Information Act request to find. In this one, I'd bet the use of HRC is how it was found. Think about how incredibly messed up and divisive and deceptive this is. The FBI has long behaved like it should be allowed to do whatever the hell it wants, and primarily it continues to do thusly precisely that. Then we come to the leftists. Now, I discovered this because you expect no less than this from me. I bring only the good GURP to you. Now, at the beginning of the show, I bring you the carousel of amusing GURP, and you go, haha, yeah. I like to start the shows with a little bit of a laugh. This isn't much of a laugh. So let's put this up. This is 10 minutes, and I'm not going to play it all. But I want to give you a taste of the true nature of leftists. They have, in fact, death fantasies. They tell you to your face, like Islam, that they want to kill you. But, people say, no, BZ. God, you fat fuck. Don't believe that stuff. They don't really mean it. Islam doesn't really mean it. They're jovial. They're really a great bunch of people if you would just take the time to get to know them. So this is them. This is the left. Don't believe it. They're just kidding. And this will be also in show links and show notes. Because, if I had a 5-hour show, I'd play it. But it goes on and on and on and on, just like that. This is perhaps a good time to bring up a corresponding topic. If there were a ton of, say, emails or tweets from conservatives or Republicans advocating for the death and assassination of tons of others, and they got to be out there. Why aren't the leftists and the Democrats, why aren't they creating posts on X or Blue Sky or wherever just like this? Because you're a smart, intuitive individual, you know the answer. That's why. Here's another story. And this is from the UK. Now, am I not starting to sound like a bit of a broken record? I think I am. Because these are, again, I told myself, Jesus, okay, I'm going to reveal how kind of ridiculous. I'm kind of ridiculous. I am. I told myself 4 months ago, it might even have been at the beginning of January. I told myself, BZ, you're going to assemble a Wuhan 19 show. It's going to be an SHR special report, and it's going to be a full 3 hours like some of my other special reports have been. And you are going to go with all the evidence again and again and again that shows that people died unnecessarily. Leftists and Democrats held people in thrall, were the the conduits by which Wuhan 19 killed people, and or the conduits by which information was intentionally withheld from you as adults for you to be able to make correspondingly good, logical thinking conclusions and analyze all the information out there. You couldn't even see the information. Verboten. It was completely verboten. You will not be able to see this information. Conversely, you weren't. This is from the Telegraph. Government withholding data that may link COVID jab to excess deaths. You're not supposed to know that. You're supposed to be congruent with the rest of the thinking, with all of the rest of the sheep. This didn't happen. It didn't occur. Cuomo didn't shove 11,000 plus people, innocents, into nursing facilities already containing the weakest, least capable of fighting any kind of infection. And Cuomo and other states, New Jersey, California, ended up shoving hot Wuhan 19 patients into nursing facilities when they had alternatives at their hands and refused to do it. Now, the last figure I had was 11,000. Some people are saying the deaths just in New York State from Cuomo are 20,000. Jeff Dunitz, before he passed away, God rest his soul, said to me one time, probably a month or two before he passed, he says, people have been saying about Cuomo that the death toll that he is responsible for is infinitely worse than, say, Vlad Tepes, Vlad the Impaler. Some people were saying 20,000 deaths, directly attributable to decisions that Cuomo made. And then sometimes, because we're stupid, we wonder, do you not think that there is an entire cohort of people in the state of New York who remembered that crap from Cuomo and said something very, very similar to fuck that and fuck him, and I will never vote for him as an independent, as a Republican, as a Democrat, whatever the hell he puts himself under, I will not vote for him, and ended up voting for the anti-Semitic, lying commie Muzzy. And then you wonder, and you really shouldn't, why didn't Cuomo get the votes? I mean, it should have been Cuomo. Were you in New York during that time? Were your parents killed? Were your grandparents killed? Were your brothers, sisters, husband, wife? Now do you begin to understand why people, at least at that time, on November 4th, said, Cuomo, nope. So as a result, a lot of people just stayed home. But the people that were out, 20 million people are registered to vote in New York City. About 5 to 7 million of them went out to vote. And though they were a small number, that's all it took to install Muzzy Mamdani, commie. He says he's a Democrat socialist. There is no such thing as truly a socialist anymore. They're just communist light. Because any socialist, any good little socialist, wants to truly be a communist when they grow up. They will eventually grow up. And so all the leftists, all the Democrats, all you people who think Islam is great, I love Islam. You took that little lizard, that little bitty lizard, you put it in your hand, and then you fed it. And then you watered it. And then it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then one day, you're about to realize that little lizard is now a grown-ass dragon. And it is coming for you. Also, possibly, but I guess I could have put it here in terms of weapons grade stupid, was this. Now, I told you about the Maura Healey, the governor of Maine, who decided to put a tranny whack job man in charge of how women will be seen and felt in Maine, because we still feel that men require and need to oppress us. They need to pull us by the nose rings. Okay. Also in Maine, for those of you who just tuned in, was this. Well, this is from Bangor, Maine. Maine, the state of Stephen King. Oh, Jesus. There's a reason I never liked Stephen King. He's too wordy. He doesn't know when to shut the hell up. Plus, he's a massive leftist and a druggie. Okay, so what happened in Bangor, Maine? Number one, they elected a black female murderer named Angela Walker, who was convicted of manslaughter and perjury, who beat up and ended up killing a Canadian tourist named Derek Rogers, beat him to death, put sand in his mouth, and suffocated him. Clearly a woman filled with the milk of human kindness. And so Bangor, Maine elected her to their city council. Oh, but she's paid her dues, BZ. They also elected, if you do one, why shouldn't you do the other? They elected to the city council an actual leader. He is the leader of the Maine Communist Party, a guy named Daniel Wilson. They elected him also to the board of the city council in Bangor, Maine. Maine, man, you should be so proud. Your mummy should be so proud. And what do I got? I got 13 minutes left. So I guess, let me, I guess I could put this up. I guess maybe the following to a degree would quantify as...
It's time for happy stories and good times.
Well, this one is. I would submit to you, this one is. The White House is actually actively considering offering political asylum to Britons for them being thought criminals. 1984, written by, in 1947, this guy wrote 1984. And people thought that could never happen. Britain itself has gone through many, many bouts of communism, socialism, and George Orwell wrote that book in one of those communist surges. And if you have not picked up and read a copy of 1984, you are doing yourself a terrible disservice. And I defy you to put down the copy of the book at the conclusion and say, all the shit that was in here, I'm seeing today in the United States of America. And that should frighten every one of you. So the White House is saying, I think this is a happy story. You know what? I'm considering, you want asylum? People from the UK, because you are being actively repressed. Come on over here. I'm thinking about saying our arms are wide and open for you. So now we're going to go into the shutdown a bit. And of course, we know the Senate passed the bill. The shutdown is over. And Gavin Newsom said, "You caved, you pussies, you wusses. You gave up. You gave in. You're pathetic. You're undisciplined. What betrayal artists you are." And then yet, here's about his state. Were you aware that I left Califailure, always spell it with a K, in 2021. I sold my house in 2021, sold Mrs. BZ's house in 2022, and we were living here permanently by early 2023. So we've been in this free state for almost over 2.5 years. And we have been loving every freedom minute of it. But meanwhile, back in California, estimates are doubled for California's illegal immigrant health care costs. Wait a minute. Weren't we told that there was no bill under the sun, no illegal invader was receiving any benefits for health care whatsoever, and that package, which is why we shut it down, was only to make sure that true Americans got health care? Bullshit. This is an article right here which indicates that was patently false. Everyone in California, always spell it with a K, knew it. Everybody on the DC side of the aisle, on the Democrat side of the aisle, they knew it. They were lying to you. Approximately 1.7 million Medi-Cal enrollees are illegal immigrants, which is about 11% of the total enrollees. Well, wait a minute. It's Medi-Cal, BZ. Where do you think Medi-Cal gets a good percentile of its money? All funded by California taxpayers? No. That doesn't happen. So again, of course, you were lied to. Let's go further. This is the real California. Let me put this up here. What's going on in California today is trash all over our streets, homeless people everywhere, problems with immigration that are 3 decades old. And having open borders is one problem, but there are other problems. We are having a housing crisis because things are absolutely too expensive.
We've got going on in California today is trash all over our streets, homeless people everywhere, problems with immigration that are 3 decades old, not allowing people that have been there a long time to work. And having open borders is one problem, but there's other problems. We have a housing crisis because things are too expensive. We have too many people in concentrated areas to actually provide any kind of services. So,
but wait, what do leftists and Democrats want? They want buildings, they want low footprints, high rises. Just like every other lurk, leftist urban rat cage. That's what they want. So when they get what they want, subsequently they are surprised and stultified to think, why isn't this working?
Hospital, fire, police, things like that are hours and hours you're waiting. We're too big of a state for any one person to run without tremendous understanding of what it takes to run a corporation and be a good CEO.
Stop. Now, I mention this because, and also the Gavin Newsom thing, because he's termed out. Gavin Newsom is termed out in Califailure. So his next eye is on the prize of he's going to go in, hat in the ring for president, or if it turns out later on down the line, because, that's 3 years away. And if it doesn't look like it's working out for him, he's going to go for senator. You can be guaranteed that if he doesn't go for president, and if that doesn't work out, senator, or vice versa. He's been manipulating everything, screwing everyone, and that's what he wants for you. Plus, hey, did you ever wonder about Prop 50, how it passed?
So I have a crazy story about voting in California. I voted by mail, so no biggie.
Check this out. This is great.
But my mom went and voted in person. And the guy pulls up the, screen for her or whatever of what you're supposed to vote. And it's only coming up yes. And my mom's like, this is not giving me a voting option. And he's like, yeah, you just press that button. And she's like, no,
Sure.
that's not what I want to vote. Like, it's not giving me another option. It's only saying yes. And he was like, well, that's just hit that button and that's your vote. She's like, no. They had to call somebody else over. And she was like, excuse me, I'm not getting an option on what to vote for. So the lady had to back out and like re-go in and set her up where it'll say yes or no. But the guy was only setting her up for yes. Tell me how that's not fully rigged. Gavin Newsom be up to some shady stuff, because the guy literally only gave her the option to vote yes.
Okay, that's one incident. That is a single solitary incident. Now, because you have to do what BZ calls the logical extension, which is something similar to this. Somebody in their 50s, 60s, maybe 70s or 80s goes in to vote. And in my state, in a free state in Idaho, we actually have paper ballots. And we take this thing called a pin and we make a little circle around the one that we want. And when we're done, we give it to the people. They look at it. They verify us. First, by the way, they check for our ID. We hand them our ID. They ask us, what's your address? They ask us, what's your name? Then they ask us, does this district, is this the one you're voting in? So we had to provide proof of ID, and to make sure that we weren't scamming them, we had to verbally tell them, this is my name, this is my address. Then we fill out the paper ballots. But if you're in Califalia, always spell it with a K, and you're elderly or you're older or you don't give a shit, or you're tired and you're disgruntled and you just want to vote for something and get out, and or if you're not aware of what you did or what you hit, imagine that. Prop 50 passed. Holy crap. How does that happen? So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the SHR Media Network. You can't imagine how many more stories I had to tell. And maybe, if I'm lucky, I'll come back on Thursday and be able to regale you with these tales and many others, the likes of which I wasn't able to get to. None of you are shocked, however. In any event, thanks to everyone for listening tonight. And as per normal, promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, also by Shure and Electro Voice microphones, the people that make my board, the Arrakis Arc Talk Blue, also the people at Pratt & Whitney Engines. They produce dependable engines, which makes thrust you can trust, and also tiaras are by My Little Pony. Sorry I didn't have a logo on it. It's just a driving cap. Just a driving cap. Thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I shall be consorting in less than 10 minutes. Thanks to everybody who was listening to the show, listening in podcast, resizzle tomorrow. Everyone, God bless, take care, be safe.
Everybody. Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben. Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy. Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth. Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob. What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing? Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, and good luck.